You have to have that vision and stick to it. And for me, I always looked at everything as half full, not half empty.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland, and I am thrilled to be with another amazing business owner who's doing the thing as we speak, who owns and operates a business and is here to share some lessons and also to share some real things that they're working through that we might be able to help not only our guests today, but anybody listening. So, with that, let me introduce you to our guest today. His name is Tom Butts. Tom is the owner of NorCal Equipment Rentals. As the name might suggest, they rent heavy equipment in Northern California. Welcome to the show, Tom. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so give us a little backdrop. Tell us a little bit about NorCal Equipment Rentals, maybe how you got into it, how long you've been doing that, what you guys
Sure.
specialize in.
Well, I shockingly, I think of myself as a kid, and then as I'm watching this shot back, I look, I got Gandalf gray here. I've been in this 36 years, and it started with way back when a friend of mine, his dad owned a company. I was fine being on the couch watching football and drinking beers, but a friend of mine who worked for them needed a promotion, and so they needed somebody to replace him so he could get his promotion. So I was recruited off the couch, and I discovered as soon as I got there that, man, I really like this tractors and trucks, and I had always grown up with Hot Wheels and trucks. My grandfather had Peterbilts, and it was in me. I just didn't really know it. So as soon as I got involved on the wash rack, which is the beginning stages, I immediately took a real liking and felt, man, this is, I wanted to be a filmmaker growing up, and but I got into the tractor business, just fell in love with it, and it's been a good journey. My company is 20 years old this month. We started in '04, and so I've been in this, like I said, 36 years. I just can't even believe that. And so it's just a journey that fell into my lap, and then I did work for a corporate company. I should say this before I started NorCal. And the corporate company really did teach us. It was like a college course in business for
Mm,
free. They're paying us, and we learned about utilization, deployment, and all these terms that we knew about. But we were more customer based. We were family based. We knew how to take care of our customers. We didn't know the math. Corporate comes in, teaches us the math, and I started feeling like, we're making these people a lot of money. Why can't I do it? So I started envisioning one or two tractors on my own, and anyways, here we are, 36 years later, 20 years with NorCal, and so pretty proud of it.
yeah, as you should be. It's kind of fun when I run into a business owner who sort of bleeds the thing that they do. A lot of business owners are into what they do, but the way you talked about Hot Wheels and
Yeah.
Peterbilts, and like that's in you, and you can tell. So
Right.
that's really cool that you're able to build a business and a life around a passion of yours, and that you got educated from bigger companies on
Yeah,
how to
it
do the
was great.
metrics and the math and all that stuff. But yeah,
Right.
good for you. It's fun to come across somebody, and congratulations on 20 years, by the way. That's
Thank you.
yeah, good for
Thank
you.
you. And there were some, for people watching this who might be struggling or they went through, I mean, there were some lean years where professionals were like, it's been a good fight, but it's probably time to shut it down. When the
Yeah,
recession hit, in '08, '09 ish,
yeah,
that was really bad. And you just have got to, whatever your dream is, you got to stick to it. It's worth it.
yeah, good for you. Okay, well let's take this 20 years now of NorCal
Mhm.
being in business, and let's mine for one or two key lessons because you've learned a ton of. We don't have time on 10 hours of shows for you to share all the lessons you've learned, but if there are key moments or key insights or key mindsets or skills, whatever you think would be helpful to others who've made this journey, because you knew about trucks, you learned about business, and you had to become a leader, build a team,
Yeah.
help people like learn how we're going to do this thing. Anyway, you've done a lot. So, what would be a key thought or two, a key lesson or two that you would want to share with other business owners about how to make that transition from a guy who knows a lot about trucks, equipment, etc., to a guy who knows how to build a business?
For me, how was I going to set myself apart? And for me, I always had a vision of what I wanted the company to be. And I'll give an example, but you have to have that vision, and stick to it. And for me, I always looked at everything as half full, not half empty.
Mm,
There's so many negatives you can just tear your stomach on, but what are the good things we did? And I continued to do that. I would make my one term I have is I always make our shadow look bigger than we really are.
mm,
If you look at our social media presence, I have people all the time say, "Are you guys nationwide? Are you this? Are you that?" Because I put forth that, and I'm not lying. Everything in our social media is real. Every picture, every video has our logo. That's our stuff. But I've always, no matter what cloud has come over the business, you've got to regroup, get hold of yourself. In my industry, I always, another term I use with people, calm down, settle down. We are not saving lives. We rent tractors. It's stressful. We get late night orders. We get middle of the night orders. We're dealing with big companies that are building freeways and stuff, and that's pressure. But at the end of the day, somebody's life doesn't depend on us. We can come out of it. And so I just try to look at things realistic. If you get in trouble with money, um, and I've been there, call the people you owe money with and negotiate. They would rather negotiate with you than you just not pick up the phone or turn your head and bury it in the sand and say, I can't do it. And so the dream that, you got to have this dream of what you want to be. And it's different from a lot of people. For me, I knew I wanted to have a footprint and be known. And we've incorporated a lot of my things. The other thing I mentioned, I want to be a filmmaker. So today with social media, I mean, you have everything at your fingertips. So we produce our own short films, big films, all our content. It's not an outside source. A lot of it's me with my iPhone. And when you take pride in that, and we always try to be a little bit different also. So anyways, I can go on, but that's, for me, the big thing is having a direction, your mission statement, so to speak, what you really believe in, stick to it. We do things a little bit different in the equipment business. We're like a gas monkey garage in the equipment business. You can go to those big stores and you're going to get the big store feel, or you can come to our place. It may not be as clean and cut, but we got hot rods, we got hats, shirts, stickers. We are you. So that's what we've found is people love is a lot of our people too. They get compliments all the time because the saying is treat everybody the way you want to be treated. When you go to an auto parts store and they don't even look up, you're just in line. We never do that. You want to say, "I'll be right with you." How you doing today? Boom, and you're on to the next one. So little key things like that have gotten us to where we're at 20 years later.
yeah, I can tell there's a clear vision. I love how you've combined a love for trucks and equipment, large equipment with the filmmaking.
Yeah.
That took an unexpected turn for me. I was like, "Oh yeah, you still get to do your filmmaking
Yep.
just in how you set up your image and do your social media," which sounds like it's turned out really cool for you.
It's
Um,
exploded. Yeah.
yeah, and I also like, you keep saying we do things a little different, but
Hmm.
that implies that you know yourself. Like we know
Yeah.
ourselves, and we are a little different, and we've sort of codified that or built that into our culture with some of our language, some of the beliefs we have, and we talk
Yeah.
about them, probably make films about them.
Yeah.
Like there's a way for us here at NorCal Equipment Rentals, and we just continually promote that way, and we are that way. And the
Right.
people who show up expect that experience every time,
Yeah.
and they know they're going to get it. So
Yeah.
well done.
That's our thing. There's a delicate line between. putting yourself out there with a graphic on an excavator and being cocky and or having a big head. We're trying to do it our way, which is we'll do like an Apple commercial, but with our stuff. Or one thing we're going to do in production is we're just going to do the TV show The Office. Well, we're going to do NorCal just like The Office, or just things like that to make it fun, but then make it serious, make it dramatic. It's a family business, and that's where the passion comes out. And honestly, people tell us all the time, we chose you because of your Instagram or what. I mean, I think that's the coolest thing ever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
free advertising.
Yeah.
Jump on it.
You get
Jump on
right.
it.
You get to be
Yeah,
you and just share with everybody
absolutely.
else who you
Yep.
are. And for the right people, it resonates and draws them in. And for the other people, you don't want to talk to them anyway. Not that you're
Right.
rude, but they want a different thing. And you're who you are, and you show up
Right.
that way consistently and powerfully, and it draws the right people in. Yeah,
Right.
a lot can be learned from that. Thank you for sharing that, Tom. I think
Bet.
that's great. Okay, so there's nowhere, that's not even the tip of the iceberg on what you could share after 20 years of this business, but that was really powerful. Thank you. Let's
Hmm.
shift gears now to, after 20 years of business, you also don't have all the answers yet either. We're all trying to learn and grow,
Yeah.
and you have people leadership challenges, you got organization develop, like as we get bigger, there's new things to figure out. And if you would share an issue today that we can work on together for a few minutes, that would help other people who have similar things going on.
Yeah. Absolutely. In our industry right now, I've been going over this, man, it seems like every day, unfortunately. Uh, Crime is a huge topic in our world in California, but in the equipment business, um, and I mean, this is not a whatever side of the fence you're on. It's just our law enforcement does not have the support, and they just cannot go after our assets.
Mm,
So that's a big one. It feels like the leadership of our state, California, doesn't help us. Um, there's new emission stuff came out literally Tuesday that just more stuff. We're going to have to basically do some stuff with all our diesel trucks now twice a year. So it's basically a smog check twice a year. We've heard maybe three times, and it just we don't even have to do those with our regular vehicles. There's things that we're challenged with the leadership of our state. It feels like businesses like mine just aren't wanted. Trucking industry is drastically affected. We have a lot of big trucks that haul this equipment. And what I wanted, I guess, point out is it starts with an industry like mine, but then it bleeds to people that are hauling groceries and other materials. And that will affect everybody in the United States. All these things that happen in California that's, go to Nevada or they start mobbing out that be your state, they're affecting everybody and they're going to affect things more. And so I'm not going to go political on this podcast, but those are our biggest challenges is the challenges within our own state. Um, that sounds weird. It's not cash flow. Employees are somewhat of a problem. Manufacturers have caught up, so there's no more COVID manufacturer stuff. A lot of the industries have caught up, and we're rolling right along, but we're just getting squeezed by our own state. Um, and from DMV fees and just I can go on, but that right now is the number one topic with us and a lot of people in my industry. It's theft, and then it's the state agencies that want more and more money out of us. One of my jokes is I just wish at the beginning of the year they'd come up and say, give us 25,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, and then we don't have to put people working all year to satisfy their new rules that they change and everything else.
right.
It's
If it were
there
just
is a
some kind of a tariff or a tax, you guys could probably live with that. But it's the amount of
right.
effort that goes into compliance that
Yep.
just tears you apart, right?
I have a full-time person that is for DMV and fleet, full-time HR, full-time, and our HR has had to go to multiple off-campus meetings with attorneys because they keep changing HR laws
Hmm.
that, it's just stuff that I never thought of, going back to starting a business. I knew tractors and I knew people. Let's go get a pizza and some beer. I'll set you up. That was me. I did not know this back end stuff. And boy, today, from '04 to today, the changes and everything. I mean, it's been a big shift.
Been
And
dramatic.
that I anybody in this world trying to run a business, that's a tough one. It's happening for everybody.
Well, the thing that might not be happening for everybody is this whole theft thing you talked about, or illegal
Oh,
activity that is practically, I guess, unenforceable, or maybe just
yep,
nobody willing to enforce. I can't imagine what that's like. Can you give us some kind of
sure.
scope of what that challenge is like?
So in the last 2.5 years, we've had over $600,000 worth of equipment stolen. We
Wow.
went and got back ourselves, went back and stole back one of the backhoes. We're putting ourselves at risk with the help
Sure.
of some law enforcement. And the problem it was, so what'll happen is, people will come in, rent something. Um, Next day, you'll see it up on Facebook Marketplace for sale. You call law enforcement, they go to the district attorneys, and the district attorneys will say, well, that's a civil matter. We're not going to do anything. Our
Wow.
stuff is GPSed on top of it. So it's like having your kids stolen, and then they're sitting over here in this barn and nobody will go do anything.
Hmm.
And so I'm giving you the calm Tom Butts how I
Yeah.
am. But I mean, we've gotten back about 100K of that. The rest has gone into insurance. And guess what? 2 Mondays ago, my insurance went up 20%. So it affects everybody. We just don't know it. And so until there's real penalties again, I mean, these guys are. A couple weekends ago, I had a $128,000 skip loader stolen off the freeway, with a customer's roller. Now that means a big rig is rolling up, loading it up, and stealing it. That's almost the first price of my first house,
Yeah.
way back when.
Yeah. It's
And
incredible.
that's real stuff. That's real issues that in our industry, it's happening everywhere. It seems to be in California, where they're lax on penalties for people. You can go steal up to $950 and nothing happens. You're supposed to let them walk out of the store. You guys have probably seen all these
Yeah, we
newscasts.
hear some of that stuff, but when it comes down to like six-figure price tags for your equipment that people are selling on Facebook Marketplace, that does blow my mind. So that's a different level of challenge. And then on top of it, to have the increased regulatory compliance expenses that you were talking
Yeah.
about, I can see how that puts a lot of financial pressure on your business. Um,
Yes.
I guess from a third party perspective, I'm not sitting in it every day with you, but if I can share a couple thoughts, maybe it'll help you think about it in a different
Yeah.
way. One thought would be, I mean, none of this is good news, right? But at least it's not an isolated incident with your particular company. So
Right.
other people are feeling these same pressures. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it good. But at least you're not disadvantaged compared to your competitors in that regard. Like
Right.
I imagine they're
Exactly.
also doing that. So I wonder, man, I'm way out of my league when it comes to like advocating with legislative people or lobbying or anything like that. But I wonder if it's worth a phone call or at least some representation across even your competitors to just say, hey, could we all get together about this to be a voice back to our lawmakers or our law enforcement people? And maybe you're already doing something like that, but that's the first thing to come to mind is like
Yeah.
there's more power in a collective voice or more voices on an issue like that. Is that something that's going on?
Yeah, I've actually talked to a couple of the old school leaders in Sacramento, our area, about doing a roundtable with either independents along with big companies. And I have been asked to talk at the Capitol,
Mm,
last year, and I've been asked again, and I might do it. I'm a little fearful, to be honest, that you get in there and they go, "Oh, cool, Tom over at NorCal. They're over there on Jackson Road. We'll see them soon."
Yeah.
And I hope it wouldn't be that way, but that's the feeling a lot of us have, that
Mm,
a lot of these lawmakers don't want to hear reality. It affects everybody. That's the part that, it's easy to see the news and go, well, that's not me. I'm okay here with my lawnmower in my garage, until somebody comes in your garage and takes your lawnmower and all your stuff.
right.
And then you call for help and they say, well, you have insurance. You're fortunate. So just turn in your insurance. And so
Yeah.
you
And
can
then
see
your
what I'm
insurance
saying here.
premiums. Yeah. Then your
And
premiums go up.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're paying I have no problem saying we pay over 14,000 a month for general liability insurance.
Yeah. It's
No,
not
we're doing just fine. But that's hard for me to swallow.
right.
Insurance money, we don't you can't really use it. It's for drastic measures. That's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But those are real challenges here for us at NorCal.
Yeah. Well, again, from a very ignorant third party perspective, at least in the case of an industry related challenge like you're describing, I think everybody's going to feel those same financial pressures, whether it's loss or it's insurance premiums. And so I guess the end customer is the one that's going to end up suffering because you're going to have to adjust prices to
Right.
make all of that reality, I guess, sustainable. Like you have to be able to manage that financially by adjusting prices, and the end user's not going to be happy about that. But if they go to your competitor, they're going to feel that same thing. So
Right.
at least you're not disadvantaged that way. It's awful. I can't believe people are stealing your equipment. I can't believe you got to deal with the government regulations that you're dealing with, and it sounds like everybody's having to do it. So at least you're not disadvantaged from a competitive standpoint that way.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody's getting hit.
yeah, yeah, but that is terrible. How about on the people side? We got a few more minutes, and I'm more likely to be able to help you on a people matter than I am
Sure.
on that reality. What do you have going on that I might be able to help you with on the people front?
You know, um, our people side right now, I feel we have one of our strongest lineups. Hiring mechanics and then low bed drivers is still real tough.
Mm,
Um, I would encourage anybody, if they want to if they're not afraid of working, going to the trade schools. If you come out and you want to have your own service truck or get into that line of work or work for somebody like me, you can do very, very well. It's
mm,
just a matter of how hard you want to work. Um, we've been real fortunate. We for our first time this year, we used Indeed,
mm.
helping us attract some people. It
Yeah,
it, it worked, um, but we kind of look for people that fit our mold, that like similar things and have a smile. Um, they like wearing art. One thing is, when I grew up, the business I worked at, they always put our name on a shirt, which I guess is retro now. Now it's cool.
yeah,
But when I
right.
grew up, I always wanted to be one of the sales guy that just had this on. So I don't make anybody. We have many shirts and hoodies, and we have a full thing. And my rule is you just have to wear NorCal. So all our guys kind of have a different NorCal, and it's all advertising. A couple years ago, yeah, finding people was a real challenge. Um, but right now, we're finding those guys that gel with the team and want to learn, want to be. They like this industry, like this business, and they have a good attitude. Anybody who's got a good attitude, I always do football things too. I'll take a bunch of players that may not be all pros, but they're listening to coach. They're putting in the effort versus a couple prima donna players. I'll trade them all day long to have a team that works as a team.
Yeah.
So I stand behind that 100%.
Well, I think that's smart. And while you didn't pose this as like a current issue of yours, you did mention that in the past it was a little challenging to get people. Right now, you're getting the people you want. But I'll just grab onto that as an
Hmm.
idea to share because I think it'll, whether or not it helps you right now, it would help others who are struggling to find people. And I actually want to bring it back full circle to something that you guys are doing well. which is projecting who you are. When you
Hmm.
project who you are, your team, your culture, your dynamic, your special thing that is NorCal Equipment Rentals, not like anybody else, you're different. When you project that through your hiring practices, through your job postings, whether it's on Indeed or any other board, you're putting out like I use the idea of a bat signal, right? Like
Yeah.
there's this symbol that says if you talk like us, think like us, act like us, there's this signal. And I want to be careful saying that. That doesn't mean we have zero diversity, but what it
Right.
means
No.
is
Yeah.
we have common values. We
Right.
share something. And it looks a certain way, it acts a certain way, it smells a certain way, it tastes a certain way. Like there's a thing here, and
Right.
we're trying to preserve that. And so I love what you're doing on the social media marketing side with video and other things you're doing there. I'd say use that same material, leverage the same kind of approach when you're approaching the job market, when you're looking for
Yeah.
people to come work for you, and they'll notice. They're like, oh, you're speaking my language, or you put my bat signal up, I recognize that. It's a real thing.
Oh, absolutely. We try to do that. In fact, we have a Batman video, so we're
Oh
all
yeah.
about bat signals.
I'm not surprised, Tom. I'm not surprised.
We
I can't wait to see it.
You have to check it out. We shot it a year ago, and we just released it a little bit ago. It's funny, and it's
Yeah,
classic 1966. So I totally understand what you're saying. And when we meet people and we bring them in for interviews, they see what we do, what we are, and I feel we are diverse. It's about blending in and being part of that NorCal Equipment Rentals family. And then we have fun with the tractors and the trucks, and some rat rods or hot rods mixed in, and we do all these crazy shirts, and the videos and stuff are for fun. We've thrown in,
yeah,
we've hooked up with Spencer Boyd in the NASCAR Truck Series. We
yeah,
work with him, so that it all makes our shadow. I said this at the beginning. Our shadow is really big compared to what we are. We're big, but we're not as big as people think, which is great.
yeah. I used a slide the other day. I was teaching a concept that I think you'll like. The slide shows. I'll do my best to describe it with words, but it shows a cat as the physical object, but the shadow that the cat casts is a lion, right? It shows
Yeah, yeah,
the shadow's the lion, and you see a cat.
right.
It sounds like you've created enough branding and brand consistency that people see that line. They see the bigger thing when maybe you're not quite the lion, but that's cool.
No,
So
it works.
yeah, I want to underscore one more thing that you said. You talked about we can be a lot of different individuals, but we come together as a NorCal family. You've created something that's a shared identity, Tom, and that's an important thing. You've done it over 20 years now, but a lot of businesses haven't created that next level of complete brand consistency inside and out. Like
Hmm.
we are who we are, and we attract the people who belong in this family,
Yeah.
and they can be from different backgrounds, lots of diverse experiences, but they come together around. It's almost like a, I don't know, an Olympic flame or a common banner. It's like here's this thing that represents us collectively, and
Hmm.
and we rally around it, and we
Yeah.
celebrate it, and we live it, and we speak it, and it's great, right? Like
Yeah.
if you can wave that flag out in the job market where people are trying to find their home, the right people will pay attention to that, and you'll just keep this. It's like a, I don't know. It's like a virtuous cycle. It just keeps
Yeah.
repeating itself or building on itself because of what you've created. So well done on that.
Nothing makes me prouder than employees bettering themselves through life, getting a car or a house that have been there, or they came aboard and then I like this, and then 5 years later their lives are changing, and they can see a career. That's awesome. My son right now
That's
is
way
in his
on.
his eighth year. He's the lowest paid person I've ever had. He had to pay his dues, and he's in the middle of buying his first house right now. these are big moments, because we've gone through times where is this place even going to be here next month? And here
Yeah.
we are with all these other lives being blessed and moving on. And so it's a big deal. Your employees are just so key. They can make you or break you. It's a huge investment for the right reasons. I mean, I want everybody to do well. As they
Yeah.
do well, then we do well. It's very simple.
Yeah. I love the way you view the world, Tom. Thank you so much for sharing
You
your
bet.
insight, your experience, talking about some of the real challenges that you guys experience. Very unique. I love that there's this NorCal way out there, right? Like there's a way. It's almost like this company has a personality that you've created, and you're keeping it alive with story and tradition, and this is really cool. So thanks for being on the show, Tom. If people want to learn
Absolutely.
more about NorCal equipment rentals, where would they go? How would they find you on social to see some of those cool videos you've created?
You can go right to our website, it's nor-cal-equipmentrentals.com. You got to make sure the dash is in there. You can also reach me at Tom at, and that's that business name, nor-cal equipmentrentals.com.
All right. Very good. You've been awesome. All right.
Hey,
For
thanks,
everybody
Brett.
else out there, please keep listening, share, like, comment, review, do all that stuff so that we can help as many seven-figure business owners as possible get these episodes. We're sharing valuable information from business owners who've been doing it. They're in the trenches, they're doing it, and they're sharing valuable insights. And we're discussing some of their challenges. And we're hoping to help as many people as we can with that. All right. Thanks for listening to the Seven Figure Journey podcast. We'll see you next time.